Look at the numbers.
So achieving an equal future in a moving world, how can that be? It's possible. You know very well that during the COVID, or from the statistics and research that have been done, women are most hit during this COVID. And so you cannot solve my problem if I don't identify, if I don't.
All right, I want to say thank you to Kenny. He'll give us the business report for today just after this break. But let me take a quick commercial. When we return, Kenny will give us those numbers, and of course, community report begins.
Brace yourself for an unbelievable TV deal.
It's a win-win.
DSTV is offering you the same mind-blowing entertainment at a fraction of the price.
Unbelievable.
For a limited time only, get an HD decoder and dish plus 1 month of DSTV Compam cut down from 18,600 to just 9,900 naira.
This is madness.
Get it now.
Wow. It's scary how they know what we like.
Wow. Because it's the best for even less with DSTV.
Welcome back. It's still the bumper breakfast, and remember, you get to send your messages to us. So peradventure there is something you noticed in your environment or something you'd like to draw attention to, send a WhatsApp message or a text message to the number that will be put right there on the screen. Please do not call the line. Just send a text or WhatsApp message to that particular number. We would get there and we will definitely take a look at what you are talking about. So yes, on today's community report, we begin with the story of an inmate who had been in Nigeria's correctional facility at Kirikiri here in Lagos for as long as 11 years. He was rescued by a man of God and who took over the matter, having interacted with fellow inmates over there. He found out that the inmates had done, quite a number of years in the prison. So he called his lawyer to look into the matter. And after his lawyer had looked into the matter, he decided to take up the case. And this young man was finally released after about 2 weeks or about 1 month of looking into the matter. Barrister Monday Ubani decided to take up, deep interest in this matter as well, and promised he himself would also take a look at it and, of course, visit this correctional facilities to ensure that something is done.
Well, I am sure you are aware of the story of one Aziz Ibrahim who regained his freedom recently at the instance of the Prophet. The man narrated how he wrongly served 10 years and 6 months at Kirikiri Correctional Center for wrong identification. If you go to some of these of our correctional centers, you see those who have been there for more than 11, 12, awaiting trial. The trial that will never take place, So, but some of us have taken it even before now to do some things that we ought to do in order to get some of them out. Now, concerning his conviction and sentence, the Prophet himself has strongly disagreed and has appealed against that conviction, challenging the conclusion and position of the trial judge. And he is bewildered on how a matter which was earlier reported to the police as threat to life metamorphosed all of a sudden into a case of stealing and obtaining by false pretenses, which eventually led to his conviction and sentencing. And so he has raised these issues on appeal. However, out of respect for our judicial process and due to the fact that his appeal is still pending before the Honorable Court of Appeal, we will for now leave details of his ordeal trial and conviction until a future time when this appeal must have been determined whether in his favor.
Of course, it's still the bumper breakfast, and I have Mr. Fatuke still right here in the studio with me. Mr. Fatuke, I took interest in this matter simply because I saw that so many people had been stuck in the prison for so long a time. The National Human Rights Commission is meant to go down there to liberate some of them, look into their matters. They're meant to visit the different police stations. But this young man, like the one you just saw on the screen, was at Ikoyi prison, that correctional facility, for over 10 years. And that is one out of about 80 different people.
In that correctional center.
In that different correctional center. In that particular correctional center.
I can tell you, extrapolate it, so many are out there in different correctional centers.
Across the federation.
I want to believe they are correctional centers. This is this correctional center in sense that I like what Barrister Ubani has done, and I must also thank you for taking an interest in what is going on there. It was similar to something that I know at one point in time, somebody was in a correctional, you used to call it prison, okay, correctional center for close to about 15 years now. My question, will you now want to consider such a person as somebody who will still be of sane mind to be able to deliver? Yeah, okay, it's better late than never. These are some of the distortions that we keep on seeing on a regular basis in our country. Sometimes it will take the Chief Justice of a state to begin to now go around.
But I learned, according to Barrister Ubani,
where people that are supposed to be doing
the magistrates are supposed to be going to this correctional centers.
We have all abandoned our common sense for things that are uncommon. And then what do you expect? When you throw something up, you know it's going to come down, and you expect it to continue to go against the law of physics, to continue to go up. It will not happen. And you are doing yours. Every other person should now begin to do theirs. Thomason, on the roads, where we have people that are supposed to be helping to correct traffic, what I begin to see now is that they are paid. Private citizens now are the ones that will now then come and be corrected.
Or some of the touts.
In the correctional center
members
that you are mentioning, that you just mentioned, for 10 years, for crying out loud.
They have people there, 11, 10.
Are you saying we have lost our compassion?
No, and basically, Mr. Fatuke, there is no compassion in this matter, because we hear things like when it is time to take them to court, Barrister Ubani said, and I quote him, they give excuses like there was no fuel in the vehicle meant to convey the inmates to court where his matter was meant to be heard.
Was that not deliberate? That is corruption of the highest order.
He mentioned, as far back as some people who were never meant to step into the correctional center, their matter should have been a civil matter resolved in the police station and done. But because some powerful people had fingered the system, they find themselves dumped in the correctional center so that the person can make boast and say, I sent you to jail.
Now, and where does that leave him or her and us? We are all losers in this race of humanity.
Well, I thought the judicial system in Nigeria was meant to be the sane one of the park, the one where everybody can run to.
Well, I like to say to you that all institutions of state in Nigeria has fallen short, and there is no doubt about it. Security, whether it's in medical, whether it's in correctional centers, whether it's in youth empowerment, youth employment, whether in the administration of common sense to justice. And like I said, we must restructure our minds, restructure the polity, and people should do the jobs that have been assigned to them. If you feel that you are not happy with the job you are doing, leave it out. Some 55% of Nigerians, both unemployed and hidden employment, will be ready to be able to do a lot of things. And this is one of the other areas that I'm going to call on NGOs to add their voice
and look into matters
and
like
look
this.
at matters like this. In fact, our state governors and all the local government chairmen in all the states should be given a task. Please, can we do an inventory? Who is where in our correctional centers? Who is where in a detention?
And why are they there? Why are they there?
When money has been pumped into aspects of taking them to court, somebody sits on it.
No, some of them don't have case files. I heard that one from a lawyer.
Okay.
Some of them don't, because I needed to find out exactly what was
So
happening.
why will you be in a correctional center or wherever you want to call it and you don't have a case file?
And that's exactly what Barrister Obani was saying. He said when he takes up cases like that, he then just splits with them at the Ministry of Justice and says, you know what, I'm not asking for compensation, but let this man regain or let this woman regain or his freedom. Let them go back and reunite with their families and have a semblance of a normal life, even though you've taken so much from them. And so many of them, they won't find their case file. Some, they won't even find their names. They keep presenting all sorts.
Some justice will have been misplaced. I heard from the grapevine, remember, during the hoodlums attack. Why would the hoodlums want to go and attack our courts? And then someone said, you don't know those people? I was there sometime. The judge will pass. I said, Judge, like that man that cried out to Jesus in the crowd, please remember me. He will even be suppressed. And so, okay, so we are not getting justice.
So rather than the courts being seen as a justice center,
I think the reforms, not just from federal, state, even from our homes, everybody should take interest in what goes on around us. Then too, the Freedom of Information
Bill
Act has been passed into law. We should all not just take interest in the fact that my own house and my own household is okay. What happens? It's not prognosing, it's not interloping. If we begin to see certain things that are not going out there, we must begin to voice it out. We are the government. It is from we that some of us have been picked one way or the other to go represent us there. And we have the right and the capacity to be able to say if things are not going on fine, it's just not going on fine. I'm happy for that man. I hope the state will look into it, take care of him, rehabilitate him for a very thinking and creative, kind of governance. That would be a very good example. He's been from the abyss, bring it back to light, and then, we can sing a very good song, not by way of showing, a very good song when he makes better of his life and say, yeah, this is us. This is the human aspect of us. That is the way I believe it should go. It is not too late. Let's start. Let's keep at it. Tomisin, please continue to do more. And I pray that the Almighty God will continue to bless you, bless Barrister Obani, bless like-minded people who dot our landscape. There may not be many, who will be agents of real change
in
to make our
Nigeria.
people happy.
Yes, we do believe in the Project Nigeria, and that's why we do our very best to look at some of these issues. But just as we conclude the community report, I was on the streets yesterday again to take a look at what should be the preparation and the plight of those we like to call the forgotten ones. Now, in this particular case, there is a particular community, the Kosisheri, that we visited. They live in a gully, they live in the valley, and by some design, I've seen that abroad before, I've seen it overseas, and I don't think it's an anomaly. I only think there should have been proper planning for those who are in the base. When you have people on the mountain and then you have other people living in the valley, you should have plans for them. The rains came visiting last night, and it came with a big bang. For a lot of people, they do not definitely know that this spells trouble, because if I go back to that same community I was yesterday, lots of their houses would be flooded. Their roads, their environment is nothing to write home about. It's a pathway where children coming from Ikosisheri Comprehensive High School have to follow to go to their homes. It's the same pathway where those who are going to Olowora have to climb up to go. Those who are coming from Isheri North and coming into Olowora would have to use the same road. And I looked at it, this is a broken road. It had been broken for as long as I can remember. There was a physical gully right at the center there that I saw. It had even become a refuse dump for the people in that entire area. Development has not been in this axis for so long a time. How exactly do we then say that these people would see development, especially now that the rains have come?
Yes. Tomisi, thank you very much. For good measure, there are a lot of, that's an ungoverned space. That's an ungoverned space. And those are people who ask to come and vote every 4 years for people to come and rape them and put them in where you have found them. Now, it's so ungoverned. Now, is that the fault of Buhari? Is that the Fulani herdsmen that are responsible for that?
I just say they have a local government, because I had to ask. Even the small cover they did for themselves, I had to ask. I said, who did? They said the community did. And I checked the well. You know, I went as far as to open one of the wells in that area. I hope my director can put up that video. I went as far as to see that well in that area, Mr. Fasuke, the water inside of that well was brown.
I tell you,
brown.
No sense of governance. Those are the areas where you now breed kidnappers. Those are the people that are very angry against the state. Come 2-3 years, I wish we could do a scientific study of what we've just started and come and see some of the things that are going to come out of that place in terms of brigands and what have you. And then we now then say that we are a government. Is that Buhari? Was that
this is not Buhari.
Was that done? Was that?
This is Ikosisheri LCDA.
Do they have representation there? Is their governance?
Don't they have a councillor?
Now the councillors, everybody now waits at the end of the month, take the money and then throw their face away.
I dare tell you that the community I'm talking about, if we can find that video, I promise to put up that video again on the Bumper Breakfast tomorrow. But that community I'm talking about, Mr. Fasuke, is quite close to the primary healthcare center listed in the COVID-19 form that I filled to register for vaccination. Has the only opportunity and the only option for me to take my vaccine if I'm given the opportunity. That same community is right by the backyard of that primary healthcare center.
Where you have a lot of pollution on a lighter scale. Nature and nurture has a way of rewarding and punishing. Tomisi, I like you and I to ask ourselves questions. From that community that you have seen, bad as it is, how many COVID persons have been infected? You hardly see. God has a way of rewarding.
Cholera.
Now, I am not saying,
Lassa fever.
I'm just saying that sometimes, we don't look at nature and see the hands of God in quite a number of things. But in areas that are governed, in areas where they are taking our commonwealth and not giving us the best, that is where you now have either the billionaires falling down to COVID, but people here will not fall to COVID. They will grow up strong, bring the battle axes, and then at the end of the day, we will now be crying that we are underdeveloped. Not trying to make a case for it. We need to govern our spaces. This is one of the things I say to my youths. Yeah, you want to be president, you want to be state governor. There are quite a number of things all around, if we get our acts correct, if the powerful men that we have in politics in Nigeria will now say, look, enough is enough. Let's put our first 11 first, so that what you found in there, is that not an indication? You said that would have been a place for you to go and take your...
No, Mr. Fatoke, let me clarify. Well, that is not just an ungoverned space. It's a dangerous space. There is the stream that passes through the bush you were looking at all the way from CMG Road, passes through that same stream and gets into Ikosi-Sherry and lands, passes through that same community and all the way into the Kara Bridge. Underneath the Kara, it just keeps going. That stream is there, passes through that community.
And goes over the Kara Bridge.
Goes just like that, leads to the Sherry North and the rest of it. Now, you see, the interesting part is this is a pathway students take when they're going to school and from. This is another part of it. There is nothing on top of that stream on that end to cross the stream. There is nothing. Erosion has taken away the temporary bridge that the community built for themselves. So they put stones inside the water because the water is still very low right now. They put stones that the students climb. And then I see another thing, happening in that environment. Yesterday I came across 4 students of a secondary school, 1 girl and 3 boys, hiding in the corner in that same environment. I took interest and I walked up to them after looking at them for about 10 minutes and saw that nothing was happening. The girl kept opening her shirt and closing it back, opening the shirt and closing it back. I had to call the young lady and I had to ask them, what school do you guys attend? They told me their school. Then the boys took to their heels. And I called the young lady to me and I said, this is trouble, rape, sexual assault happening right under our noses. Why would you take this pathway home? She said, that's the only path home. Then what were you doing with the boys? We were playing.
Under our very nose, and then
under our very noses.
And then tomorrow, unwanted pregnancies, children spring up.
You see why those kind everywhere. Of ungoverned spaces cause trouble?
And then much more elderly bandits will come and capture them and
ungoverned spaces like
ransom from the
cause
state.
Trouble right in the middle of civilization.
I think we are a very, very, very comedian and jesting country. The potentials of Nigeria, both morally, spiritually, physically, is being hacked down deliberately by people who should serve us. Because they are not serving us, you are just introduced. You are just introduced as a mother, obviously. Well, as a reporter and as a mother, you have also introduced something that will bring a lot of tears. I hope we have a population of people who still have conscience. A lot of tears from Nigerians in Lagos, Center of Excellence. Just
right
imagine,
in our backyard.
Just imagine what is happening in Jangabe, in Zamfara.
So this is why it's not strange to me anymore.
So we have set out on a path of failure, but with the likes of you and other like-minded, we are going to be the marked difference that the Almighty is going to see. I'm going to say, because of this particular person,
let me have mercy.
Let me have mercy. And not
Mr.
just
Fatoke, I need to say thank you to you for being with us this morning.
Nigeria
thank you so much.
Again.
Thank you so much for joining us again. Our guest this morning has been Mr. Akin Fatoke, of course. He already told you his CV while he was having the conversation with me. Was another state man and one of the biggest believers I know around here in the project Nigeria. Remember, the change which you desire begins with you. You have to do your part to make sure that Nigeria becomes the country, not just of our dreams, but the one that we can proudly leave for tomorrow's generation. I am Tomi Siljo. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you again tomorrow.